As I have observed over the years, you have loved her as she needs to be loved, and not how you necessarily want to love her. Your wisdom surpasses mine, as it took me many, many years to learn that lesson for my own marriage, and it remains a real growth edge for me. I also remember fondly our lunches downtown, not for specific conversations, but for the ease of the flow. I'll admit to a certain curiosity as to how you would react to me in a public setting, respond to me in a public setting, but you really seemed very transparent and at ease, and that was very meaningful to me. I appreciate your maturity in responding to my direct questions. I gathered that you knew me well enough to know that I asked direct questions. Nik, I also celebrate your selflessness. You and Junlah shared a dream. I think you understood and you understand that the choice of living in Cambodia may hold less professional reward for you than it does for Junlah. And yet, you lent her your complete support in that. I remember watching both of you describe the interview experience in North Carolina. Your eyes danced together with a description of the crafting and compiling and demonstrating of Jullah's teaching video. What I felt in my heart was a cleaving of husband and wife as your eyes danced together. And Nik, I also appreciate that you don't express annoyance at my questions concerning how your faith journey is going. You know well that faith is an anchor in my life, and that I've been able to stand in a broad place as God has stretched me to love more authentically His family. And Nik, your heart sees what you feel, and it's been wonderful for me to see that. And it's unique, and it's special, and I treasure it. You've given faith the freedom to grow with relationships that are nurtured on the basketball court, in daily conversations, and in tithing your time and your experience, your skills to service. Junlah, for you also, I speak from my heart. On your 16th birthday, I remarked that your gift is that you can see beyond the horizon of most other people. I continue to celebrate the ways in which that gift manifests itself in your life. Your challenge is to persevere in patience, awaiting until others can see what you see. Your commitment to a daycare for school employees still resonates in my prayer heart. It feels right to me. My prayer is not so much for a specific facility, but for others to see what you see. As you may recall, I fasted and prayed for 18 months or more concerning the Guantanamo prison. My prayer focused on the Spirit of God falling afresh on the prisoners, on the staff, on administrators, on policymakers concerning the sacredness of life. Each of the three presidential candidates has announced their intention to close Guantanamo Bay, the prison. And I attribute that and believe deeply that it was the Spirit of God who moved in the hearts of the decision makers. Junlah, I'm blessed by your sense of family and community that grants life to others. Your aunts were amazed when Saint-Simon brought her 9-year-old daughter to Laos, where life was so hard. And yet you received their hospitality with joy. 15 years later, you attended Kak's wedding and witnessed her joy and her husband's joy. Because of your joy in being with family as a 9-year-old, you were able to experience the joy of your cousin on her wedding day. And then 6 years ago, I think it was 6 years ago, I'm not quite sure, you gave handmade gifts for Christmas. Ted received a cross of small colored stones that were wrapped in a thin wire. And in the last year of his life, he wore that cross daily. In fact, the hospice gave him a necklace with the emergency alarm button attached to it. And Ted attached the cross to that necklace. And he would often joke that the emergency alarm was meant for his weary body and the cross was meant for his weary spirit. And I think I mentioned to you that as he lay in his casket with his hands crossed on his chest, the cross was tucked into his hands. Another way in which you've really blessed community is in your relationship to Laura. You may not realize it, but she deeply appreciates the time that you took to be in relationship with her. She asks me nearly every time I see her, how you're doing. Today, I took the train and went up to her, and somehow, I'm not quite sure, she knew that it was your birthday. She knew it, she said, because it is near the same date of her mother's birthday. And her sister has told her that her mother has died, but will not tell her why she died, and will not tell her where she's buried, and in fact doesn't want to have anything to do with Laura. And that has been very hard for her, but in some ways I feel like her ability to celebrate that time for her mother is linked in some way with the very real way in which you were in relationship with her, and that she could celebrate your birthday. So on your birthday, Nik, I celebrate your rich and honest love for Junlah, our ease of conversation during lunch, your selflessness, and your heart that sees what you feel. And Junlah, on your birthday, I celebrate your gift to see beyond the horizon and a maturing patience to let others have the time they need to see what you see. And I celebrate your sense of family and community that grants life to others. I love you, and I pray for you. Oh, there's a P.S. The advent of significant change is rarely recognized at the time that it happens. Happy birthday.